I'm curious. Amish near me do not pay property tax due to being Amish, so apparently that's not the case everywhere. So, yes, that is not the case everywhere. I'm curious where this is, because public records would probably indicate whether they're paying property tax or not, or whether they even own property. So, the person who told you this might not actually own any property. Therefore, he wouldn't be paying property tax. Because I don't know of anywhere in the United States where Amish people are exempt from paying taxes other than Social Security tax, which is actually technically an insurance benefit, and that is the reason why they don't have to pay it. They're allowed to be exempt from it because it is a benefit and not actually a tax. The IRS just takes care of it. So, as far as not paying property taxes, I don't know of anywhere in the U.S. where you don't have to pay property taxes and they won't eventually take your land from you. So, it would be very interesting to know where this is so that I could, and maybe message me that person's name. I would like to look up the property records and the public records in that area, because it would be very telling. It would tell you if he's paying taxes or if he even owns any property at all. So, God bless and have a good day. How's it going? So I've had a lot of questions about this, about taxes. Do the Amish pay taxes? I've almost gotten beat up in real life by somebody who swore up and down the Amish didn't pay taxes. And he acted like he wanted to kick my butt. The first two rules mentioned in my community were pay your debts and pay your taxes. The Amish are not religiously exempt from paying federal, state, or school taxes. They pay school taxes but still have their own school systems that they support. The only tax they are exempt from is the Social Security tax. With a 4029 form, they are religiously exempt from paying that, and it also exempts them from Obamacare. The reason for that being, the Amish don't believe in collecting Social Security. They don't believe in free money. All the Amish I know were supposed to send their stimulus checks back as well. Now, however, most Amish do have a lot of dependents that they can figure off their taxes. And those dependents cost them money as well. So it's not like they're really making any money off the deal. Most Amish just don't need as much money to survive as English people because they have less expenses. They live simply. That is why they're able to take contracts and perform the work for cheaper, because they can pay cheaper wages because their employees don't need as much money to live. However, there are some Amish out there that evade taxes and don't file their taxes and think that the IRS won't catch up to them. They are usually wrong, and they usually end up losing everything. Adam Tanner says, I hear that a lot, that people think the Amish don't have to pay taxes. I think they avoid some taxes working with cash, trading, buying used, etc., like most country folks. So this comment actually makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about how much they save on taxes by having barn raisings and stuff like that. So you have 100 people over working on your barn, and you don't pay them, so nobody gets paid. All you do is you feed them a big meal. And if you had to pay a contractor to come in and build a barn for you, think about how much that would cost. Think about how much it would cost just to pay those 100 people, even if it was only $100 a day, and they came in and built it in one day. That would be around $10,000. That's a lot of taxable income. But instead of doing that, they feed them, give them a good hearty meal. That was always my favorite part, of the barn raisings. And you will have some people who, shortly after lunch, they'll be like, well, I better get going. I got some hay to cut or something like that, But when they need help, you turn around and help them, and you don't get paid for that either, So people help each other back and forth, and they do avoid paying some income taxes that way by being a community helping each other out. I never really thought about it, but it makes sense, Adam. And another thing is, imagine having 8, 10, 12, up to 18 kids. I've personally known a family that had 18 kids in 21 years apart. And imagine all those dependents. It'd be hard to make enough income to actually, make enough income to where, you'd have to pay income tax with that amount of dependents. Like, wow, I can't even imagine, And it's possible for the normal Amish family to survive on a lot less income than somebody who doesn't live off the land, because they can all their own food. They grow their own vegetables and stuff in the garden, and can just about everything. Everything is, wood burning stoves, stuff like that. So they really live off the land, and they don't require as much income. So it is possible for Amish families to not make enough income, figuring in with their dependents, to where they don't have to pay income tax, but they should still file. All I know is my parents always filed their taxes every year. They had a neighbor, not exactly a neighbor, he lived about 10 miles away. But this guy, he used to come over and go over their books with them, and he'd figure out their taxes every year, and they had to pay him, but they didn't know how to do it themselves. So, yes, my parents filed every year. Kim Combs says, can you address taxes for the 100th time? I keep seeing so much misinformation. Amish do pay taxes. So yes, most of the Amish do pay taxes. Some of them might try to not pay taxes, but anybody who knows what the tax laws are knows that you cannot get away without paying property taxes, or they will literally come and take your home. So you can't do it for very long. There might be people who try to evade taxes in the Amish community, but they are not religiously exempt from paying taxes. The only thing they are religiously exempt from paying is the Social Security tax, which is actually classified as a benefit, as an insurance. And that is why they are exempt once they join the Amish church. The bishop will sign a 4029 form, and they will be exempt from paying Social Security tax. But they can never collect any Social Security benefits once they sign that form either. So basically, the only tax that they're exempt from paying is the Social Security benefit. Now, let's look at, say, if an Amish person doesn't pay property taxes. How long do you think it will take before that county will repossess that Amish person's farm? We all know what the tax laws are here, and there is no way around paying taxes in this country. The only way that you could possibly do it, is if you rent your whole life and move around from place to place, always trying to avoid, giving up where you're living. It cannot be an easy life. It just would not be an easy life to try to do that. Although some Amish people might try to do that, they are very few and far between. So yes, the majority of the Amish people do pay taxes, and I would really like to hear from the ex-Amish people or people who are still Amish who were adults and paid taxes, or if they didn't, I would like to hear that side of the story about how that worked out for them. I would love to hear what the end result was. How did that work out, not paying taxes? Because it couldn't have worked out well. In my community, they used to joke around saying the only two things that are certain are death and taxes. That was the only thing. My bishop used to say that a lot. So yes, most Amish people do pay taxes. Hopefully that answers everybody's question. Thank you, Kimberly.